So I did get into the DC jail. It's been over a week now. So I was in there just about 2 weeks ago. And the conditions I saw were extremely disturbing. As a matter of fact, I think that jail should be shut down. And I don't just say that about where the January 6th defendants are being held. I say that about a lot of parts of that jail. But when we walked through there that night, I saw many bad things. I saw prisoners in lockdown and solitary confinement because they had acted out. They had attacked a guard. They had attacked another inmate, and they were on lockdown in there. But that's not the January 6th defendants. They were in a completely different area. I will say that it's very sad to see people locked in solitary confinement, and that is true human suffering, and it still deeply disturbs me to this day. We were leaving and we were being led back to the front door, and they told us that our tour was almost over. And I said, wait a minute, we haven't seen where you're keeping the January 6th defendants. And that's when I was told that, I'm sorry, that's not part of your tour. Well, they had a big problem with me at that time because I wasn't going to leave there that night without being shown the whole facility. After all, they had shown me places of lockdown. They'd showed me good things. They showed me bad things, and I saw pretty much all of it. Why would they keep me from seeing where the January 6th defendants were being held? It didn't make any sense. So I told them they had something to hide, and I demanded that I be shown that part. And I told them, if you don't show me where the January 6th defendants are, I'm going to go on every single news network and tell them you're hiding this. And then you're going to have a very big problem. So a phone call was made, and then we got permission. And they took us into where the January 6th defendants are being held, and they're being held completely separate from the rest of the inmate population. It was totally different than the other areas. There was no education going on. There was no ability for them to have access to the library. There was no ability for them to have access to the religious services. As a matter of fact, that's being denied. They told me that they're not allowed to have communion. That I asked them, I said, well, do you have Bibles? And they said yes. And I said, so they said they do their own Bible studies because they're denied the right to see anyone for any kind of religious service. Now, here's what I did see. I saw men that haven't seen their family in months. Some of them haven't seen their family's faces since January. I also saw men that hadn't shaved, hadn't gotten a haircut, and they were told they can't shave and get a haircut unless they're vaccinated, which I think is completely wrong. I mean, we know we're all walking around every day without a mask on. We can go in a restaurant, sit down and eat. We can go get a haircut. We can do anything, and we're not, it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. But in the jail, it's bad enough to be in jail, but you're on a completely different level if you're not vaccinated. And that's what they told us. But it was also stories of abuse that seriously upset me. And that's why I'm calling on all Americans. If you're on this call, if you're watching this live, every American should care. And even if you are a Democrat and you are upset and angry and you think it was an insurrection, you should still care, because human rights abuse is human rights abuse. And these men and women, I didn't see them, but apparently there are women being held in other jails. They may be being abused too. And we need to stand up and stand against this. I was told that they're called white supremacists. I was told that they've been beaten over and over by the guards. I was told by one man that he was strip searched after a meeting with his attorney and treated in a very vile way. As a matter of fact, his own testimony about it was sealed in his court case, because whatever happened to him in that room with those guards when they forced him to take his clothes off is not a good thing. Now, there was other things that happened that they told me about. They're being denied medical treatment, and there's men in there that definitely need medical treatment. As a matter of fact, some of the prisoners brought up an older man, a much older man named Lonnie. And they told me, they said, please, Miss Green, if you're able to get anyone out, please get Lonnie out. He needs to go to a doctor. He needs to go to a hospital. They said, Lonnie, show her your hand. And he showed me his hand. And from the middle of his arm going up into his hand is completely purple. He has a serious issue with circulation, blood circulation. And I don't know what his medical condition is. But his hand, not only is his hand purple, his thumb is black. And anyone listening to this or watching, that means there's serious problems for this man, Lonnie. He could lose his thumb. He could lose his hand. And that's not right. Now, I just told you about men that are being held in jail, and here's the real part. They're pre-trial. They have not even been to court yet. They have not been in court. And in America, you're supposed to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. But these men are being treated worse than terrorists at Gitmo. They're being treated worse than people I saw being held in ICE detention facilities, illegals that broke crimes in our country, illegals that were waiting trial for serious crimes.
Darrell Brooks has a criminal history that spans more than 2 decades, with arrests and convictions, often for violent crimes. But we've now uncovered he is also a child sex offender who has been wanted for years for failing to register, but has managed to elude police for 15 years. We obtained his mugshot from 2006, where a much younger Brooks can be seen with the same tattoo on his neck compared to his recent police photos. Police in Nevada now confirmed to CBS he is the same man accused of plowing into all those innocent people during the Wisconsin parade.
Those people have it better than the January 6th defendants here in the D.C. jail, and I don't know how January 6th defendants are being treated in other jails across the country, because it's not just here in Washington, D.C., it's other jails in other states, and I haven't seen them yet, and I don't know what's happening. Now, here's something else you should know, and this really amazed me. Every single night at 9 o'clock, the January 6th defendants, they sing the national anthem. And I don't know anyone that sings the national anthem all by themselves every single day. As a matter of fact, I don't know anyone that just joins together with their friends by themselves and says, let's sing the national anthem. But these men do. And they don't have a flag, so they took a piece of paper, a simple piece of paper, and they made their own flag. They drew a flag on their paper. And one of them held it up because it happened to be 9 o'clock rolled around while we were still there. And they held up their paper with their flag, and they sang the national anthem better than I've ever heard it before. And here's why I say that. They sang it with passion and true devotion to our country, and you could hear it in their voice. Now, we live in a time where we see people that make millions of dollars playing a sport kneel. We see people kneel during the national anthem because they believe it's racist. But our great American flag and our country is not a racist nation. Yes, sometimes people are racist, and I think that's a horrible thing. But our national anthem doesn't stand for racism. It stands for freedom for every single American. January 6th defendants are being persecuted and treated wrongly by our federal government, but yet they're willing to stand and sing the national anthem every single night at 9 o'clock. And I can tell you right now, there wasn't a dry eye in the room.
How much sense does it make for insurrectionists to be in jail and basically tortured for almost a year now, but child molesters and straight up thugs like this freak Darrell Brooks was out of jail on bond and able to kill people, possibly because he was hired to do so by a Democrat politician who wanted to change the narrative away from what's really going on. Hunter Biden, Ashley Biden's diary, Ghislaine Maxwell. I really want to do something for these guys. If there's anything we can do, I'm thinking maybe write them some letters. Y'all can send the letters to me and I will make a package and send to them. The only other thing I know for sure we can do is pray for them and sing the national anthem with them at 9 o'clock every night, 8 o'clock Central Time. Sing the national anthem and pray for these prisoners of war, basically, is what they are. If only there was a way for us to bottle up our white privilege and send that to them in a care package. Because they obviously didn't have enough of it on their letters to these absolute patriots, let me know in the comments section and we'll figure something out. Or if you have a better idea of something